Today, every day, small cap investors visit AGORACOM knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. AGORACOM, find your dream.
Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of AGORACOM in which we speak with small cap executives right after recent important news. With us today, I'm happy to have Sean Dollinger. He's CEO and co-founder at Namaste Technologies. The company trades on the CSE and the stock symbol N for our friends in the US, NXTTF, and for our friends in Germany on Frankfurt under M5BQ. Now, for those of you who are new to the story, and that's not going to be a lot of you because Namaste has become the market darling of the space. But for those of you who are new, this is a fast-growing, revenue-generating company that is emerging as a leader in the massive global trend towards vaping, medical marijuana, and just about everything related around those industries. That's why I've gone on the record, actually, in a lot of previous interviews over the last 12 months and said Namaste is setting itself up to be the Amazon, the tech backbone of this industry. More than just lip service. The company is the world's largest B2C e-commerce vaporizer company. October sales were $1.3 million, representing 174% year-over-year increase. November sales are going to be expected out soon. Revenue for August 2018 right now is looking at a run rate of about $25 million. All sorts of other great things going on. But what we're talking about today is the company's press release. I'm reading the headline: Namaste divests U.S. assets to focus on legal cannabis markets. Here to talk about this, Sean, welcome to the show.
Hey, George, always great seeing you. Thank you very much for having us out today.
Always great having you because you never cease to amaze us with most companies put out 1 or 2 quality press releases and 3 or 4 fillers, admin stuff. You're the opposite. You're just bang, bang, bang. You're hitting the market over the head. This was a big one. I'm going to get to some questions for you, but it seems like having these U.S. operations was a bit of a tether around the company's ankle. Broadly speaking, tell us why you decided to make this move.
George, over the last year, I've been going to meetings, as you know, all around the world, and different situations have come up where we've met with 3 different LPs, and every single time I went, no matter how good our news was or what we were discussing, the same topic kept coming up: U.S. presence, U.S. presence, U.S. presence. And even though I said we were just vaporizers in the aromatherapy space, they said that it was not to their liking. It's not the way they can't really have a connection to the US regardless of what we were saying. So,
and what kind of discussion are you having with those LPs, if you can ballpark? I know you can't be specific, but what types of discussion were you having that were looking fruitful and positive but got stuck on the US operations hurdle?
So from talks of even going partners on CanMart, for example, in the early days of CanMart, we were looking for a partner rather than doing it ourselves. 2 different times that came up, that challenge of the pushback. When we did private placements, for example, we also got that pushback. Even though we're a publicly traded company abiding by all the rules in Canada, they backed out at the last second due to being on, having the U.S. presence.
The other hurdle that you had is the uplist in the TSX Venture Exchange, and you did go out of your way today on the conference call to explain to everyone that the CSE has been fantastic, and it is a wonderful exchange and has treated you very well with lots of volume being traded. I'm looking at the screen now, 16.5 million shares at lunchtime. But there was a need to go to the TSX Venture. Explain to us why that need exists.
Whenever I'd go around Bay Street, meet with hedge funds and institutions, and I've mentioned it on your show before, this is my first time running a publicly traded company, knowing about the markets. And I always thought, hey, no problem, CSE, venture. But it's turned out that a lot of Canadian hedge funds, institutions won't even take positions on a CSE traded stock. I can't tell you the exact reasons why. It's just part of their policies. And I know the CSE has been doing a fantastic job with educating the general public about their exchange, and they're the newest of the three big ones, right? So perhaps it has some old stigma to it. I don't know the exact reasons, but I could tell you that,
Yeah, I'll go and say that I don't think there's any issue with the CSE, but it's more likely a legacy issue where these funds, institutions, that you probably know this now, have very strict rules of engagement, and they probably have felt very comfortable with the vetting process of the venture exchange only because it's been around longer than anybody else. And that's probably more than anything. But what do you think that will open up for you if and when the TSX Venture does happen? Because you do have the application in. What do you think the response will be if and when you actually get uplisted there?
So that's a great question, George. So when you look at our shareholder base right now, it's a lot of retail, non-institutional. And I think that's what's led to some of the instability in the stock, the fluctuation in the stock price, et cetera, instead of a large institution or hedge fund taking a position in us for many years to come and believing in what we're doing. That doesn't mean that shareholders don't believe in what we're doing, but hey, how could you blame them if they make 100%, 200%? Here we are in 3 weeks, they're up 400%. How could we blame them for taking their investment off the table? Even though we are strong believers, I have not sold a single share of mine from day one, even into a spike of $1.38 yesterday. You won't see Sean's name anywhere on the sale side, So it would be great to get an institution hedge fund that could see the long-term play, 3 years, 4 years out, and it'll really give stability for our retail investors as well. You need both, and right now I think it's all, we're sitting at about 100% retail.
And let's talk about that. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually have that as a topic I wanted to talk to you about. When you talk right now, when you speak to your retail investors right now, and obviously I can't give investment advice, you certainly can't give investment advice, especially when it comes to your own stock. But how do you, we all know at the end of the day that in the small cap space, money is really made when you find a great company and stick with it, right? And we can't guarantee right now that in fact people should stick with it and they will make more money. But paint the picture of what's going to be taking place in this company in 2018, and then where you see the grant. Because I've said it, you're setting yourself up to be the Amazon of the space, Amazon Plus actually, where you're the tech backbone for the entire industry, for all the LPs, for all the accessory providers. Give us a picture so that when investors are sitting at home right now and deciding, how they should be treating your company, because I'd like to see investors not looking at you as press release to press release anymore, but more as the big picture. But you got to paint that if you don't mind.
One, I think if you bought our stock, you're selling yourself short if you're selling it before we get our license. So I think that's the most important thing. CanMart is right around the corner. You definitely want to be with us when we announce that CanMart license. Once we have that, on your show, I believe we've brought up Namaste MD before, which is our telemedicine portal that we've developed from scratch, completely in-house. Right now, we have about 1,000 visitors to our Canadian websites every single day. We've shown the correlation between Aurora customers using vaporizers as medical patients. In theory, people coming to our site to buy vaporizers, why are they not medical patients? They absolutely are. So what I think is going to be really interesting to watch for is a week from this upcoming Monday, and I'm sorry, George, I don't have that date, but a week from this upcoming Monday, the beginning of December, we're actually launching Namaste MD. It's no longer an idea. It's no longer in the works. We're ready to launch it. Once that's implemented on our websites, essentially what's going to happen is you'll visit namastevapes.ca. We'll bring you through your shopping experience there. But then it'll say, hey, George, do you need a medical prescription? You will then click on that banner, which will bring you to Namaste MD. It'll connect you with a nurse practitioner or a doctor immediately, right on the spot. Within 10 minutes, we'll take you through the whole process of converting you, if it is deemed that you need a medical license, to then, once CanMart is approved, it'll bring you to CanMart's website to continue the shopping experience. No LP, Nobody in the whole entire space in Canada is doing anything like this right now.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. How big of it, because I know it, but it's, again, for you to convey to everybody, the size of the technological lead you have there. To me, that's the difference between Amazon and somebody ordering books through the mail from another website that's a .com, but is it even bigger than that? Put into relative terms, how big of a lead you have in the entire industry with that technology.
George, once we implement it, we'll definitely be able to give you some really solid numbers. But if you just take 1,000 patients visiting our site a day, and let's say we convert 4% of them, that would be over 250 patients every single week. Nobody's accelerated customers at this speed. Cannabis, if you look at any of the large LPs, they've acquired patients to be brought into their network, and that's how they were able to scale. Namaste could do this all organically. And once we show it on namastevapes.ca, we'll take this exact strategy and implement it around the world, with Australia being the one that's ready next.
And more than just lip service, here's what I love about what you talked about in today's conference call. Your Black Friday, Cyber Monday comparable to last year, you're up 500%. There isn't a person in the industry that even has a comparable number, because they don't have the e-commerce tech backbone. You not only have it, you're not talking a big game, because you increased sales by 500%. How did you guys achieve that?
I almost fell off my chair. You're bringing up 500%. Our German site, we beat by 2,700% last year by implementing our strategy, which we've seen work on all of our other websites. We identified Germany as a terrific e-commerce market for vaporizers. We've always had a presence, but we never focused into that website or into that portal. 6 months ago, Josh, who leads our SEO team, decided to implement the strategies that we've developed internally into there. 2,700% gain. It was unbelievable. And we've just seen this across the board on anywhere that we put the energy. So, it's unbelievable.
And this kind of dovetails back, because we went off to a tangent of the things that are coming in 2018. We started with, the license, which will lead to Namaste MD, and that's all happening right now. Take us through a little more path, so that people at home can really, reconsider and say, look, I can take my profits down. If you do, no one's going to blame you if you're selling stock into strength. But we want to give them an opportunity to at least realize your vision. What else do you see happening in 2018? Because legalization is coming. So you tell me and tell the world the next milestones that you're expecting in 2018.
Yeah, so I think first on the list is launching Namaste MD next week, a week from this upcoming Monday. Then following that is our CanMart license. After the CanMart license goes live, we'll be working on many supply agreements in Canada, so you have a one-stop shop. So if you're Aurora, you obviously only want to sell Aurora branded marijuana, or if you're Canopy, you'll sell your own marijuana or companies that you've invested in through your investment arm to be able to recapture and sell on the platform. But as we know, Health Canada is approving many, many more LPs along the way, smaller companies, that Namaste immediately will allow them to scale to be on the same playing field as all the big guys out there. And we might even be able to surpass them with the technology that we have, because the technology we've developed for vaporizers, and now we take our marketplace full of marijuana strains. The possibilities are really endless, George, there. And then with being able to import marijuana from Colombia, Israel, Australia, Jamaica, and then having this amazing international strain line, while in the rec space right now, they're saying that there's actually going to be absolutely no import. So that really gives Namaste the competitive advantage to the rec space versus the medical space. And then I think that's something important to note on Namaste's exposure to the rec space. Presently, we're in talks with Health Canada to implement our facial recognition software, which we've brought up on your show before. And, that'll give us exposure into every transaction that takes place in the rec space online if something like that's approved. How you'd be selling yourselves really short if you go ahead and sell now and not wait for some things like that.
And I love that technology because it seems like the same. Is this the technology you developed, or you guys have licensed? Because I've seen that technology on Airbnb, I believe, where you've got to show your driver's license into your camera, and then you've got to show your face, and it makes sure that it all matches. But is that the same kind of technology you're deploying for Namaste MD and potentially for the rec space? Because I got to imagine government's got to love that, because the last thing you want is my son, stealing my ID, going online and entering it. But with the facial recognition, there's no way, right? You got to match the face to what the ID says.
So obviously there's confidentiality agreements signed. So I'm not sure if they're the same ones that power Airbnb's, for example, picture. So authenticating.com is the company that we signed exclusive rights with in Canada on the whole marijuana cannabis sector.
That's powerful.
So we have the rights to this technology. It's already implemented. It goes a step further though. Once you upload it, let's say if it's the driver's license, it matches it on the Canadian database to make sure that it's a valid license and not, for example, just a counterfeit or a replica. So, we have that completely integrated into our software. But what makes it even better, because we've done this all in-house, let's say if AGORACOM wanted this piece of software, we could charge you a transaction fee and a monthly subscription fee, and we could totally take it and white label it towards your company.
I'm blown away by the technology side. I'm going to ask you this last question. I was always able to be ahead of you by saying, because I could see it laying out that you're going to become the Amazon, the backbone. You as a CEO of a publicly traded company, you couldn't speak as freely for obvious reasons, but with everything taking place now, even the supply agreements and sell agreements that you've been signing, the technology coming forth, is it finally time where you're able to say, yeah, George, we think in 2 years we're going to be the Amazon of this space, not just in Canada, but a major player globally on the e-commerce and digital side of things? Can you finally start to say that yet officially?
George, you might chuckle. I already think that we're actually better than Amazon as far as what we have to offer here. Not only are we an unbelievable e-commerce technology giant, at least in our space, but the customer service that we offer, the return policies, helping out customers. When we start selling strains, we'll be able to discuss that, have educated conversations. The staff, and you'll see a press release next week on this, but the support staff that we have coming in to support our clinic that we're going to be launching for Namaste MD, we're planning on blowing away people's expectations. Things that they've never experienced in the field, or that just doesn't exist now. That's what we do. It's not just a matter of, hey, how much can we do in e-commerce and get it out the door? It's about how can we keep that loyal connection to our customers, the loyalty, keep them coming back, because as time goes on, there's going to be more competition. Amazon eventually will get into the space, whether that's in 2 years from now, 10 years from now. We know they're not going to never come into the space, but how could we differentiate ourselves to make ourselves even better? And I think that we're really on path to do that.
Yep, and now I see why you're calling yourself Amazon Plus, because Amazon is fantastic fulfillment, logistics. If I want to sell widgets, I have my store here in Toronto, and if I want to sell widgets through Amazon, they'll fulfill. But they don't have that level of customer service. Yeah, they have returns and exchanges, and they have a hotline or whatever the case is, but you guys are going above and beyond, and I see that as absolutely critical, because in the medical marijuana space, and perhaps even the rec space, if all that comes to fruition in 2018, we have the core use of medical marijuana, we have the core use of recreational marijuana, but as that grows into the masses, well, those people are going to have a lot of questions, right? Because they don't have that comfort level. And if you're able to provide that kind of support and that kind of tech support, then that's going to lead to ramping customer acquisition and satisfaction. So I think you're on a fantastic
And it's
point.
even like that now, George, in the cannabis space. There's clinics that open. The only thing they care about is writing as many prescriptions as possible and sending them off that customer. But how do they know? Did they get the right dose? Is there any follow-up? You know, are they using the right product to vaporize the product? It all goes hand in hand, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Well, you heard it here first, everybody. You know, a strategic decision made today by the company to divest of its U.S. assets knocks down a lot of hurdles towards partnerships, knocks down a lot of hurdles towards financing and greater exposure to institutions. And more than just lip service, they're executing with their Black Friday numbers, more technology coming out. So I urge everyone at home, you know, Namaste has had a fantastic run, and rightfully so, because in my opinion, I can say that it had been undervalued for too long and hadn't gotten the attention because it wasn't an LP and selling actual medical marijuana. But now that it's gotten its due, the stock price has had its move to where it should be. Now the decision is yours as to whether you want to be invested in this company 2 years from now or you want to be taking your profits. Personally, I think as Sean said, it behooves you to make sure you're with the company as it meets its milestones, and we hope you will. But Sean, congratulations on today. This is probably the 10th interview we've done. You've hit the mark on everything, and the amazing thing is you're probably going to be back next week, and it sounds like around December 11th is going to be the launch of Namaste MD. So I think everyone is going to want to watch the actual tutorials on that and demonstrations to see how great of a technology that is. So until then, thanks for joining us. We're going to boomerang you right back on here, but congratulations on everything you've done today.
Thanks again, George. Always great seeing you. Look forward to next week.
You've been watching Sean Dollinger. He's co-founder and CEO of Namaste Technology. The company trades on the CSE and the stock symbol N for our friends in the US, NXTTF, and for our friends in Germany on the Frankfurt under M5BQ. Find the company at namaste-technologies.com. And as always, if you want to do real due diligence, get to AGORACOM, get into the Namaste Hub, read all the profile information we've got. It's up to date to the minute. But more importantly, watch the last 5 or 6 interviews that are on the site right now that we've done with Sean, so you can get a great picture about where this company is going. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you next week.